Well, they've arrived. Refurb shocks? No. Refurb forks. And a new Wilbers rear shock. Oh, here's my new Wilbers. Rear shock, sprung for my weight. This is gonna be awesome. Oh, that is beautiful. So once that's on the bike, I can then do my sag. All right. But I've got to fit the front forks first. So let's see what they look like. Well, actually, they're going to look exactly like when I sent them off, because they were just an internal refurb. I wasn't interested in doing anything to the forks externally, because it just wasn't worth it. Okay, so there'll be a new air gap rate, a new air gap. So let's take a note of that. Because your air gap is part of your spring, and it's a progressive part of your spring. So it's really important. Oh yeah. Yeah, they've been honed as well. They look fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. Beautiful. New seals. Beautiful. I don't care about the paintwork really, because the rest of the bike's not immaculate. So including that total refurb of those forks was €220, and the springs were extra. But I'm pretty sure they never would have been done. Lovely, lovely. And also, these stanchions were measured for me because Triumph used two sizes, and these should have been sticking out the top yoke 28mm, but I never knew if they'd been replaced with the shorter ones. Triumph used ones that were level with the top yoke or 28mm out the top yoke, and I wasn't sure which I had, because when I got the bike it was half and half. Oh, I can feel that already, how nice that is. So this will be a quick fix, he says, confidently. Right, this fork is lovely. It really is nice quality. So let's have a look. It's a linear 8 spring, 59/59. That's the inner diameter of the spring. And I have a spring rate here of 170 newtons per millimeter, and a free spring length of 165 mil. So we can find out how much preload is in on this. So if I measure this, so we're at 147 mil. Okay, and our free spring length was 165. So that's, what did I say, 147. So that's 18 mil of preload. So 18 times, what did I say, 165? No, 170. 170 equals, right, there's 3,060 newtons of preload on that. What does that mean? Well, that's about 1 newton on my hand. 1,000 newtons is a 100 kilo guy standing on my chest. So 300 kilo guys standing on my chest. So that's the preload on that spring. So we'll fit that just as is without touching the preload or the damping, which is 22 clicks on this, and it's just over halfway. And we'll see how we get on with that. Cool. It really is. It really is a nice looking shock. So I'll have to do all my sag settings and find out what that's like as the preload it's come, and then adjust it as necessary. I'm hoping I can get to these adjusters without taking it off the bike every time. But because I know the spring rate, if when I put this on and I'm getting excessive sag or not enough sag, because I know the spring rate, I could take this off again and just adjust this, the amount of millimeters I need, knowing what the spring rate is, because they've given it to me, and do it once and put it back on the bike. But first I've got to put the forks back on, because I need something to rest the front wheel on. Cool, that's for later. Well, you might say, why didn't you go for a remote preload adjuster? Well, this is for my Triumph Daytona 1200. It's never going to carry luggage, albeit a very light tail bag. It's never going to carry a pillion. It's going to carry me and my weight, and I had it built for me and my weight and no pillion. So once this preload is set, I'll never have to change it. So I might have caused myself a little bit of inconvenience to start with, but you know, it wasn't worth a few hundred extra euros to get a remote preloader for the once I'd use it. So that's why I've gone for this design. And of course, we don't all naturally think in newtons anyway, do we? So roughly, very roughly, 10 to 1. So my 3060 newtons is equivalent to about 312 kilograms of preload on that. So not forgetting we're taking into account my weight and the weight of the bike. So we'll just see how that works out on the sag once it's fitted, and make those adjustments afterwards. Mind you, a lot of us don't work in kilos either. A lot of us work in pounds and inches. I was kind of halfway through the system as I was growing up as a kid, so I'm happy with either. Wilbers give you a nice little booklet and guide you how to measure the sag on your bike and adjust your preload, and they give you some settings. So it's all very useful. It's all very useful stuff. But one interesting point is, remember that the measuring point for your rear wheel measuring should be on the radius of that axis of the swing arm pivot. See that curved? Rather than just a direct up and down. So you're measuring at the same point either time, if you know what I mean. But look, let's get the forks done first, eh? Right, time to get these forks back on. So these calipers are all nice and clean. Pistons are all lovely. I'll throw away those pads. There's a decent amount of wear left on them, but they're old. They've been sitting there for years, so we'll get a shot of those. So let's get going. Yeah, I may struggle here a bit. When I took them out, I got quite a drop on this front end. So this may be my first abort attempt, because I don't think I've got enough room to get the fork straight. Let's have a look. Oh, speedo cable. Oh, will I be all right? Let's see. Yeah, if I can just get past this bottom yoke. Come on. I just don't have any room. Just make sure I haven't tightened that clamp up, back up. I shouldn't have done. come at it at a slight, yeah. I turn that, I can get a bit more of an angle. Gotcha. Gotcha. Now, I need to prop that up. Well, my homemade rope's getting in the way. I'm gonna have to do a bit of yanking. I'm gonna have to put the other fork tube in and let that take some of the weight. Nice. Lovely. Now this fork tube, for this length of forks, needs to be 28mm above the top yoke. But I don't know whether that's the top of the actual stanchion or the cap. So, it's either here or here. There's a couple of mil difference in it. So I'll just go and check the old manual, see if it's the top of the actual stanchion. I reckon it will be the stanchion. So, yeah, I'm way too high at the moment, but that's fine. It's easy adjusted. Okay, so that's my 28mm on that fork. It's up to the top of the stanchion. So just do that on the other side too. Cool, that was easy. Oh. A speedo drive, speedo cable. Yeah, I'm bound to get something in the wrong order somewhere, but I'll work it out. As long as I don't get any of these spaces wrong. Well, there's only a space on this right hand side wheel, so. Oh, I should have a little bit of grease before I do this, shouldn't I? Oh, with a new cloth, why not? I'll just give the spindle a little grease. Although it's lovely and clean. Little grease can't help. Can't help, will help. Don't need to go mad on this stuff, it's not going anywhere. Right. Be careful not to get any of this grease on my disc rotors. Oh shit, yeah. This is what happened to me. I need to lift this front end up. Yeah, I need to lift this front end up to get the wheel spindle in. I need my trusty camping mallet, which now I need it, I can't find. Oh yes, I can. Yeah, see, because I've lifted that fork now, what I'm doing, I'm tilting the wheel, and that disc is hitting the inside of the fork. So I actually need to raise both forks to get some more ground clearance. In fact, I'm going to leave those not nipped at all and give them free rein to move. Which sounds like a much better plan. Fuck me. I've never spent so long putting a bloody wheel back on. Here, got it. Gotcha. Phew. Well, there's a life lesson, eh? No, it's just putting a wheel back on. I think my forks are a little deep in the frame now. So, we'll get those back down. So now I'm struggling. I need a bit of leverage. I need a bit more rear clearance because I need to lift the front end of the bike up to get those forks down in those yokes. But my back wheel's too close to the ground. So I'm going to have to think about that one. So I'm going to have to build up where that centre stand sits to give me some more clearance there to get these forks further down the yokes. So something to put under there. A Dalek? No. Cannon? No. Mini lathe? No. Actually, that would have been handy had I not had a fairing, because I can get a good 6 inches lift on that. But you're still out of the running. Some excess floor tiles, maybe. It might just give me enough. So I have to nip those top yokes up, get the bike off the stand, get the centre stand up on those and lift it again. Let's see. Right, I can finally take my Superbike paddock stand gizmo sort of thing off. So we'll start with that, will we? I'm free! Right, I don't need much. I'm only about 10 mil out. So I can use half of those mats and get this done. There's one more element to remove. Right, that's my forks on and just yokes and nipped hand tight. So that worked well, raising that up. So it'll be interesting to see how much clearance I have. Yeah, this bike's front heavy on the centre stand. So by the looks of it, I still have about 5 mil, 10 mil maybe, off that rear wheel to lube the chain, so that's great. So let's get these brakes all bolted on and the mudguard and stuff. Easy stuff. Now, I'll just check I got some expansion room in the brake reservoir, which is great to have. So I can start to push back those push back on the old calipers, open them up for the new pads. Now before you start pushing your brake pads back, just stick the cap back on your reservoir, because you sometimes can't get it shooting back out all over your tank, which wouldn't be nice. So while I'm here, might as well do these brake pads because they're so cheap to do. And I can force the pistons back in with the old pads. Bit of uneven wear on these. But anyway, that's good. Already checked the reservoir, as I said. Need to get rid of my pin. I'll refurb these over winter. There's the spring out. I've already completely cleaned them, but I'll do new seals in winter. And I'm just using, oh, where's my knife? I'm just using regular EBC organic pads. I don't want to get through a pair of rotors. They're half worn, but I don't want to really put sintered pads on there, just for the hell of it. Right. God, these are simple to change, aren't they? Really simple. Just got to line up the spring and the pin. Cool. Wow, so simple. And I'll have enough room to get those over my rotor. Excuse my head. Oh, let's try and take the bolts out first, will we? My hands are nice and clean, so I'm not getting any grease on the rotor. Speedo drive cable back in. Done. Nothing's tight at this moment. Nothing's torqued. These aren't torqued. Pins aren't torqued. This isn't torqued. Nothing's torqued at the moment. Just getting it all together. So, other caliper going on. Get rid of the cable ties. Bolts. These pistons are already pushed back, so I can just take the pin out, which is still loose. Spring. Bit shitty really. Lots of wear left on them, but shitty. As I say, I'll rebuild those during winter. So, new pads, new pads. Hands are clean. Pad spring in the middle. Just need my pin to go down, but above the spring. Cool. Ah, wrong size. There we go. Lovely, nice pair of pads. Just open those up a tiny bit to present them to the disc. Just got to get them over the rotor without them getting in the way. Yeah, gotcha. And caliper bolts, and these will all be torqued down once I look up the values. Now, let's just check the brake fluid. Got a feeling we'll be fine. This brake fluid's been fully bled through as well, so I know it's all of the lines are full of fluid. Good new fluid, so I don't need to bleed them again. That's that. I'll just finish off putting the mudguard and stuff on. Okay, that's everything torqued up. I just got the mudguard to put on, that's all. So that's my front forks finished, apart from mudguard. Let's have a look and see what that stiction's like. Because I was getting 30mm plus stiction on those front forks. They were absolutely bloody awful. This will be interesting to see how they are. I won't bother doing any of the sag stuff until I've got the rear shock on as well. Let's get it off the stand. Oh, that action is so nice. Yeah, lovely, lovely. I'm at minimum preload as well on the front. So, God, that rear really sits down. I can't wait till I get the new shock in the back. So this is going to be nice. This is going to work out well, but that action is lovely. So different than what it was.